background of motorsports. First, who challenged the idea of having a human drive?
Hello and welcome to Roborace. You're joining us live for our second instalment of our Sim Racing Challenge, because if you joined us about 10 days ago, you would have seen our Offsprint in Time Challenge, but tonight you're joining us for Offsprint Dark Isles. My name is Rachel Stringer and I'm going to be your host for tonight's challenge. Roborace though, where do I start? If you don't know what it is, this is what you're in for, because it's the world's first fully autonomous, all-electric motor racing series. And in real life, we're actually halfway through season beta in the championship, which is the last time for our competing teams to develop their racing AIs, which they've been racing all season around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway circuit, of course, in America. We've had a pause actually on the championship, but we're going to get that season underway hopefully very soon. So stay tuned to all our social media channels for an update on that. But on to tonight then, because for tonight's mission, let's say we're in practice mode, okay? So it's a chance for our competing teams to test and update their AIs without actually causing any real damage, like crashing into walls and having a pretty hefty price tag attached to that. We've seen it happen before on this show, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much. But tonight, I mentioned it's a global challenge as well, because we have teams joining us from Europe and the US, and Roborace themselves are connecting from the UK and from Russia. And I'm joining you from my living room. I know it doesn't look like one, I've got a green screen here, in London in the UK. I'm not going to be alone either. I'm going to be joined by the voice, the man of Roborace himself, Andy McEwen, is joining me as always. Andy, how are you doing firstly? And are you excited for tonight?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Rach. Good to see you. Yeah, really excited, actually. I had to bail halfway through our Offsprint in Time last time, so I didn't get to see quite how that all played out at the end. I believe you did a stellar job of stepping in for me whilst I was away. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this one works and seeing how our teams have improved. You know, the Offsprint in Time, that was a challenge, but Offsprint Dark Isle, which does sound like the dark and gritty sequel to the original movie, doesn't it? This is going to be an even bigger challenge, I think, for our team. So it's going to be quite a show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Andy, because I can now add motorsport sim racing commentator to my CV. So it's fine. You know, everything counts, doesn't it, as experience? But I will remember that you left me high and dry. FYI, watch this space. Anyway, you kind of mentioned it a bit there. What can the teams expect from tonight? What can our audience expect from tonight?
Well, as ever with Roborace, I can't really give you a proper answer to that because we never quite know what's around the corner. This thing does have a habit of surprising us, doesn't it? But what I think we can expect to see is an even bigger challenge than last time. You know, the Offsprint in Time, that was difficult, but they have upped the ante a little bit this time. They saw how the teams struggled with the last event, and they've thought, I know, we'll make it even harder for them this time. But that's just what Roborace is all about. It's about testing these teams, testing their AI, and not making it too easy for them.
Yeah, the teams were really tested last time out as well. For those of you who did join us, you'll see that it was quite a struggle for some of the teams, but we'll bring you up to speed on that a bit later on. Andy, though, why are these sim challenges so important for not only the teams, but for Roborace as well?
Yeah, they're really important for everyone, actually, because they allow us to do sort of integration tests of our whole system, including technical and production parts as well. I mean, this whole way of putting the show together is completely new to most people, so it is a good opportunity to test all of that. And also these fully virtual events, they allow the teams to test their software and compare their results to the other teams in a way that they can't really when it's in the real world. So, you know, we've heard the teams talking all the way through season beta about how they use the sim to develop their programs and their software and make themselves better when they are then competing in season beta. That's kind of still what we're doing here, but we get to spy on it this time, which is always exciting.
I know that was always the excuse, wasn't it, if you guys watch Roborace season beta? Well, we actually haven't had that much time on track. We've just been practicing on the simulator. Well, that isn't an excuse now, is it? Because this is when it counts, on the simulator. Okay then, let's get on to the rules, because of course any challenge has some rules, and this challenge tonight, Dark Isle, is no different. So let's talk about it, because time tonight is money. That's your currency, let's say. If you lose all of your time, your mission is over. And the mission tonight is a 9.65k traffic sprint from a standing start. And the track they'll be racing at tonight is the Anglesey track in Wales. A little bit different, isn't it, from last time out where they took on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway circuit, a track that they've actually become very familiar with. But these teams have actually raced to Anglesey as well in season beta, so they should know this circuit as well. The teams then, they get 8 minutes to complete that near 10k distance I mentioned. And as soon as mission control says go, that 8-minute countdown clock will start to tick down, okay? If it hits 0, their mission is over. So they're hoping to have completed that distance in the time we have given them. They do, though, have 2 chances, but only if they fail or abort the first one. So it's not just a given they'll get a second attempt tonight. The winner of tonight's challenge then is the team with the most time remaining at the end of the distance. Okay, let's take a breathe, because that was quite a lot to get your head around. What's next though? Roborace, of course, there's going to be something else coming, because they're going to add an added layer of metaverse complexity, okay? I called this a traffic sprint earlier, didn't I? And that's because during the distance, our team's bots will encounter live and unpredictable vehicle traffic that it will need to navigate round. Basically, picture rush hour in your car on the way home from work, trying to get home to your house for dinner as quickly as possible. It's basically what's happening right outside my window right now, okay? I live in central London, so yeah, you kind of get it, don't you? As well as the traffic though, our teams will also need to navigate some dynamic obstacles and glitches. Andy, you're going to tell everyone about that, because it's my chance to have a pause now.
Yeah, go and have a lie down. Make yourself a cup of tea, Rachel. That was a lot of talking, wasn't it? Lots of rules to get through, but well worth it, because it's going to be quite entertaining, I think, once we get going. So traffic, that is going to be a huge factor, actually, in which teams have the most success here, because hitting the traffic, who'd have thought, is not a good thing. You will get punished if you hit that traffic. If you hit a vehicle, one of these vehicles that you'll see out on the course with the bots, then your speed is frozen at whatever speed you were doing at the point of impact. So if you hit one of these vehicles at 20 kilometers an hour, for example, your speed is frozen at 20 kilometers an hour. Sounds pretty straightforward. It will lose you time. However, if you're going quicker than that, if you're doing 120 kilometers an hour when you hit it, your speed is frozen at 120 kilometers an hour. So that, in theory, sounds like a great thing, being able to go quicker, but of course, it's only good until you get to a really tight corner, and then you can't make it because the car won't slow down. You get frozen at this speed for 15 seconds if you hit one of these vehicles, so Rach, that ain't good.
No, that's not good at all, because last time out, if you can remember, the teams really struggled, didn't they, with the changing speeds which were put onto them because of hitting these different obstacles. So you spoke about hitting it there, Andy. What happens if a team rams into a vehicle or an obstacle? What happens then?
Yeah, there are lots of really complex ways that they calculate whether it's a hit or a ram. I would love to explain it to you, Rachel. Well, I don't understand it, if I'm completely honest, but I know that if it's a heavier accident, you get a heavier penalty. So if you ram into another car, then it's a 25-second penalty, essentially. For 25 seconds, your speed is frozen, as I just described, at whatever speed you were doing when you hit the car. So if you are going to hit something, at least try and be gentle.
25 seconds is a long time. I mean, so is 15. So you actually want to just make sure your kind of AI is on the right calculations tonight. It's going to be crucial, because, Andy, there's also objects as well. It's not just the glitches. There's so much to contest tonight.
Yeah, they would love it, I'm sure, if they had a nice wide open road, nothing to dodge, nothing to avoid, but no, we're making this difficult for them. So you mentioned obstacles. There are lots of obstacles that they'll have to dodge. Basically, an obstacle is any object on the road which needs to be avoided, because once they do have a collision with such an object, then, as we've said, the speed of the car gets frozen immediately. There are two kinds of obstacles today that they'll have to deal with. There are ghost cars, which act like real cars, essentially. They drive along on the racing line. They need to be overtaken successfully by the team's bots. And then you've got those purple rectangular things called gizmos, which move from side to side across the road like some 90s arcade game. And they've got to try and avoid them as well, because hitting them, as we've said, will certainly hurt your run.
And they are purple things, as Andy said. Keep your eyes peeled for those purple things, and keep your eyes peeled for glitches as well on the journey, because if you collect a glitch, it turns all the traffic speed down to just 2 kilometers per hour for 10 seconds, which could be the difference between passing a pack of cars or getting stuck behind them. Andy, that in itself is going to make things very interesting out there, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say that again. I think what's actually really interesting about those glitches, though, is that you would assume that that's your golden tickets to success, right? The more of those you get, the more chance you've got of winning. And we have seen in Season Beta that actually the team that gets most collectibles, as we call them there, tends to be pretty tough to beat. But as in Season Beta, it's not that straightforward, because sometimes these lie so far off the racing line that the car has to swerve wildly to collect it. It might have to slow down or deviate its course so much that it's not really worth it. I think these might just be because of the sheer length of time that the benefit lasts for, but yeah, it's all designed to push the AI's decision-making skills, and it's going to require a lot more strategic thinking, I think, for the teams to really take full advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of called this challenge a traffic sprint. I'm likening it to being outside driving home in rush hour. Andy, in terms of that, how many cars are we going to see on track at one time, or can we expect to see?
Yeah, so we can expect to see anything up to 23 of these ghost cars, basically, which is quite a lot, actually, over a relatively short distance, just under 10k, as we've said. Our system, though, it does allow us to simulate lots of them at the same time, so it's not just sort of one at a time. You know, it might be one, it might be a group of them all together, and of course, the more of them there are, the more chance there is that the team might just collect them.
Yeah, well, 23 cars is quite a lot for our teams to navigate, but I believe that was the same about 10 days ago as well for Offsprint in time, and these guys are a pretty smart bunch, so I'm sure they'll be able to get their heads around this. Well, we hope they will anyway, otherwise it would be very interesting. And that's what I love about Roborace. We get these crazy new rules. It's so different from regular motorsport, isn't it? When we have laps and lap times and qualification, we are forming a completely all new mission world here on Roborace, which is the future, which is so exciting. And okay, well, that's kind of about the challenge tonight. Racing is going to get underway very shortly, but we wanted to give you a bit of an education now into just what it takes to create the simulator and the simulator environment. So we thought, who better to chat to than the man himself, who was the man responsible for creating this, and that was Matt Steele.
So first of all, Matt, can you please explain what Hive is?
Sure. What Hive is? Hive is a component-based vehicle simulation platform where we take a bunch of different pieces that are used to simulate a vehicle and a track, and we put them together in all kinds of cool ways.
How important is sim racing for actual kind of real life drivers to, you know, hone their skills and get better at actual racing?
Sim racing is extremely important because it offers us a chance to have cheap seat time, where we can get a lot of time. When you're racing in real life, you have a very limited amount of time on the track. Every lap that you run costs money. It costs money in tires and motor wear, in track time, and all of that. And so you have to have a very rigid, strict program in place when you get out in the car. In sim, you will sometimes have programs in place, but we also use it as an opportunity to try out all sorts of different things. We'll try out different settings on a car, try out different racing lines, try out everything with very little consequences. So yeah, it's a very flexible tool for developing the car and developing the driver.
How do you think our Roborace teams are going to adapt to sim racing? Is it much different to what they've been doing?
No, they've actually been doing this since day one. Our cars are very expensive race cars. And so, it's not a great idea to take an untested piece of code and drop it on an expensive vehicle and send it out hurling down a straightaway at 200 miles an hour. So, simulation is used to develop the ADS driver, to train it, to learn how the car is going to work and how it's going to behave. And so it allows the teams to have a place to validate their work before it goes on the real car and gets put to the test in the real world.
But where do you see this kind of program going? What's the future of Hive?
Well, we're building out, like I mentioned before, Hive is building out a platform to democratize vehicle simulation. So we're creating a platform that allows users from all over the world to test their ideas and improve those ideas and improve vehicle simulation across all industries, so that everybody can benefit from the collective development that everybody's doing.
What would be the best possible outcome for the event in 2 weeks' time from kind of a technical point of view?
I think the best outcome that we could have from this event is that the teams will learn something new. That they'll go in and experiment and play and run the event, and they come out the other side with some new insight into their program that they can use to push the development of the real car forward. I'm excited for the event because I'm excited to see how the teams are going to approach doing it in a simulator versus in real life, and see what sort of insights they can gain by having the freedom to experiment more than they're able to do in the real car. So it's going to be exciting to see the teams put it through its paces.
It was great to hear from Matt there and get that extra bit of insight into the simulator and the environment itself. Right, now I mentioned earlier we had our first sim challenge a couple of weeks ago now. That was called Offsprint in time. Tonight it's Offsprint Dark Isle. And for those of you who didn't tune in and watch it, where were you? Don't worry, because we have a recap for you right now. Enjoy this. Hi and welcome to Roborace. You are joining us live as we embark on a new, truly global challenge for the first time. This is called Offsprint in time. We have some teams dialing in from all over Europe and the US, and then Roborace themselves are connecting the UK and Russia. Just possibly not as fast as
now I've seen a nice overtake,
for.
so I'm happy.
Okay, I love that the team's happy. Unfortunately, hit an obstacle there. It says way, but the time
is over.
Unfortunately is up. The mission is over. Polamove, commiserations there.
In danger of hitting one of the dynamic obstacles as well, so that's another factor. A slightly cleaner sequence of corners there, but they go into the back of another bit of traffic and they almost go off the road, and they are off the road. Oh, ARG, it has all come wrong, and you can see the reaction of the teams there.
Now we know, okay, we are fast enough for that, and now we can no more investigate the planner. And also the good thing is we are logging all the data and the configuration, and maybe there was some wrong configuration, and we will see that afterwards. So it was okay.
Through the first corner, well, they're going slowly. That's not a good sign. That probably means they've hit something. They went for a gizmo there though, and that does help them out a little bit more. It just slows down the metaverse a little bit in hitting it anyway, so it's almost a double penalty really. Through the tight right-hander, this is where ARG had their problems earlier on, I think, at this corner. Bit of a delay, they go for a gizmo. Now that will slow everything down, but they've also hit an obstacle, I think, which is why they slowed down at that point. They need building there a little bit. The fastest part of the circuit is sort of round the back. Oh, that didn't look right. No, they've stopped. Arrival have stopped.
Guys, really disappointing. Let's talk about the first attempt firstly. Was it something with the ADS? Did it not download correctly? I know it took quite a long time firstly. Tell me about why you think the ADS wasn't working.
Yeah, as Max already mentioned, we require some specified sequence for launching our software, which is purely done for the vehicles. That's why, probably we found some misinteraction with our simulator. That's why I think that's the issue.
Let's see if they can get past this tricky section, which has proved to be quite difficult for a lot of the teams. They just hit one of those sideways moving obstacles there, which has meant they've slowed right down, as you can see. but then did just get a glitch. So everything else around them has slowed down by 15 kilometers per hour. And on track, but they've got a glitch. And then they've hit another obstacle. Oh, the team don't know what to make of this. They're laughing and they're going, what is going on? The metaverse is causing all sorts of problems out here. You don't want to be hitting anything if you can help it. Just get those glitches. Ooh, right into that obstacle.
Our speed is not so great because we significantly reduce like our performance level, but we are pretty much good with like dynamic objects. I think it's great. We are slow, but
2.5 minutes.
Looks really nice.
2.5 minutes. Oh, I'm getting a little bit animated. I need to just calm down and just focus like you guys. Get the glitch. No, couldn't quite get it. Looks like 1:48 on the clock, guys. Great job.
It's finished. Good. I think no.
Woo. Well, that was Offsprint in time, our sim racing challenge from a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was clear to see there the team struggled quite a bit with the sim environment that we threw at them last time out. So I really hope they've gone away after that one and have adapted and reset and found something and have something up their sleeve for tonight to go a little bit better for some of the teams, I'll say. But it was ARG who came out on top and were our winners last time out. Tonight, though, we have two teams taking part in our Offsprint Dark Isle Challenge, and the first team is our reigning champions, or current champions, I should say, from Roborace Season Beta, and that's Acronis SIT. And then we have Holomove. They'll also be taking part tonight, which is pretty exciting for us. Okay, let's stop talking now and actually get on with this, shall we? So SIT are our first team up. Let's have a look at them now. Okay, I'm delighted to say we're joined by two members now of SIT, Ilya and Maxim. Both of you, I hope you're doing well. Have you firstly, Ilya, uploaded or have started to upload into the sim at the moment?
Yes, we already started, so everything ready from our side, so we're waiting just the final confirmation so that we can run our software.
Perfect. So, Ilya, let's have a quick recap from last time out. You guys went on your second attempt and you managed to get, obviously, a time on the track. You finished second in the end there. I think it was 1:48.061. And our winners, ARG, they got 2:13. So it was pretty close. But what can you look back at from last time and have you been working on this time out?
So actually we were working on the stability of our software and performance. And actually it's quite hard to eliminate what affect our code and what affect performance, because sometimes we kind of dependable on the environment, in the simulation environment. If something changed in simulation environment, then we cannot say that we cannot say that our code improved or not. It can be only changes in simulator. So during this time, we expect that because the rules for the sim challenge is almost the same, actually the same, and simulator is also like quite the same. So we can compare, I would say, apples to apples between like previous round and this round. So we can see the improvement, I believe.
Okay, so Maxim, I think what Ilya was saying there, so last time out you're not sure it was the sim environment which was a bit different to what you practiced on as to why you guys didn't go as well as you may have hoped.
Yeah, last time actually we have 2 runs, and first run wasn't perfect because of some bugs. It actually was not from our side, and for second run we said not really good parameters in terms of performance, and our run wasn't so fast. Today we hope that our software will much faster, and we did a lot of improvements in terms of like glitches LUTs, and we hope that we will work much better with these objects and with metaverse in general.
Yeah, Ilya, you mentioned though not much has changed in terms of the rules, which is correct, but we are on a different track. Last time we were at Las Vegas Motor Speedway Circuit, this time we're at Anglesey. How will you approach this circuit? Is it much more tricky than last time out, which is a circuit you've grown to know is the Las Vegas circuit?
Yeah, it's a different track, and it's different strategy to overtake, different turns, and the width of the track is different compared to the Las Vegas track. So yeah, it's different track, so we need to adapt to it. We need to define the best racing line for this track, and then understand what's the best approach to overtake other cars on this particular track. And we did
Maxim,
it.
how much? Yeah, for sure. Maxim, how much time, if any, have you had prior to this challenge to practice in this sim environment on this Anglesey circuit?
Yeah, it actually was only a couple days.
Okay.
And we have only couple hours to practice on hardware in the loop simulator. And that's it. It was not so much time, honestly speaking.
How have the practice runs that you've managed to complete, I'm hoping, how have they gone? Have you managed to complete the distance in the 8 minutes that we put on the clock for you?
Yes, sure, we did it. It was actually pretty nice. I hope that it will be the same during the competition.
Yeah, well, at least you've managed to achieve it, which was more than a couple of the teams did last time, of course. Ilya, how do you hope your team will get on tonight? Obviously, we're only actually going to be able to use our second attempt for each team if the first one is a failure or if you abort.
So I hope that we will show our best, what we can do. Regarding the tactic for this race, I believe it's quite the same. So if everything goes smooth from the first attempt, then we will keep the first attempt. If we will see that we can probably do better and change some parameters, change the performance of the cars, then we'll use second attempt.
Okay, well, good luck, Team SIT. Good luck, Ilya and Maxim.
Thank you.
Wish you the best for this first attempt.
Thank you.
Let's go racing, shall we? So you've got 8 minutes then on this 9.65 kilometre Anglesey circuit. Let's get into it. Andy, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rach. Let's see what they've got then. I like the confidence there from the team, actually. SIT saying that they expect this all to go really well and they managed to do it well in practice, and they're hoping that they don't have to use that second attempt. But let's see if that's the case. We've seen there on the screen then the bot that is waiting on the start line, then ready to go. And as soon as the team are ready to send it on its way, off it will go. You can tell this is a sim because we've got blue sky at Anglesey. That's something that I haven't seen there in my visits to the Welsh circuit in quite a number of years. It certainly wasn't like that when we tried to launch season beta from Anglesey all those months ago. It was very grey, very windy, and a bit of a miserable day all round, really. So let's hope that they can make hay while the sun shines here and set a good time. So as we said, we're going to credit them then with 8 minutes. They've got 8 minutes to get this done. They'll have all of these vehicles and the obstacles to dodge out on circuit, and those glitches as well, which will slow down the speed of the obstacles around them. That could be really, really useful. So just waiting then for the car to make its move. You can see we're using the newer version here of the dev bot as well, rather than the 2.0 that we've been using in season beta. This is very much what the future of Roborace is going to look like, and these truly driverless cars. You can't physically get a driver in this particular version of the dev bot, and this is very much what we're hoping to see in the future. And of course the end idea is to have multiple cars out on track at the same time, and the racing to be wheel to wheel, and that's very much what this sim event is supposed to be simulating, funnily enough, to allow them to practice their overtaking, practice having other vehicles around them. There's the view from behind. Brilliant looking thing, isn't it? I love this colour scheme as well. Black and day glow yellow. I think we're not that far away, hopefully, from getting the car on the move. This version of the Anglesey circuit, it's not the full Anglesey circuit, it was the shorter layout of the track that's being used up past the old pit lane is where we're lining up here. Seems to be a little bit of a delay here, I'd say, in getting things started. Not entirely sure what. We'll get more information on this as and when we can. We're hoping to see the car move fairly shortly. Now I believe that actually the guys from SIT can still hear me. So Ilya, is there a delay here? What's going on?
To be honest, I don't know.
Oh, they're off. The car's moving. That's okay. As soon as I asked you that, the car moved. There we go. That was the secret, wasn't it? So, right. Anyway, we're up and running, and the car is making its way around the track. There you can see some of these glitches that the team might choose to find a way past. They dodged the gizmo. That was nicely done as they head up through the top end of the course now. The group of gizmos there lying off the racing line. They don't really present much of a challenge. It's the ones that appear right on the line that they want to be hitting that they really do have to try and dodge. Keep an eye on that speed as well in the top left corner. You can see the speed really increasing now, over 160 kilometers an hour. And that is important. If they were to hit one of the obstacles at that speed, remember that's the speed they get frozen at. But at the moment, that's not happening. It's been a really, really clean run so far. You can see also in the top left how much of the distance is still remaining, the time that they've got left as well. They've used just over a minute there. We've still got 7.5 kilometers to go, but this has been inch perfect so far, it must be said. And Cronus SIT Autonomous showing everyone how it is done. Again, able to take a good line through there. I'm impressed with the way that the vehicle is taking the corners, actually. It's one thing to go quickly in a straight line, but one of the things that sometimes the AI has struggled with before is high cornering speed, but you can really see them moving quickly through the turns, and they're managing to avoid these. Now we are hearing there's been a problem with the ghost cars. I was just starting to think we hadn't seen any ghost cars, and apparently we need to restart this run, unfortunately. So well, that's a shame, because that was going really well, and Ilya and Maxim, I'm sure, are going to be quite happy with how that was going. Ilya, that was pretty impressive in that little taster that we got just now.
It was a warm-up, so we need ghost cars to this race.
Yes, well, at least you've got your second attempt, I suppose. So, and you showed there what you can do. So that was pretty good going. So, apologies, everyone. Then we will get the ghost cars loaded in as soon as we can, and we'll get this up and running once more. I thought that was all looking a little bit too easy. They were not encountering any problems along the way. And I said at the top of the show, we wanted to make this a little bit harder for the teams. So we will get everything loaded back in then, and we will hopefully be able to get Cronus SIT Autonomous underway for another attempt. Well, Rachel, a shame that we're having to redo this then, because that looked really, really good, didn't it? But yeah, we were making that a little bit too easy for them, weren't we?
I was going to say perfection, but what do we want here at Roborace? We want the metaverse. We want ghost cars. So whilst we reboot and get you some ghost cars out on circuit for SIT second attempts, we'll actually show you exactly how SIT got on our first sim racing challenge, Offsprint, in time, because I mentioned it there. I kind of did actually tell you exactly what they did. But if you are just tuning in, you might not have heard it. So this is how they got on last time out. Yes, well, that is a great sign, of course. SIT underway on their second attempt. Let's see if they can get past this tricky section, which has proved to be quite difficult for a lot of the teams. They just hit one of those sideways moving obstacles there, which has meant they've slowed right down, as you can see, but then did just get a glitch. So everything else around them has slowed down by 15 kilometers per hour. So you can see they're overtaking that vehicle there, which is very promising. Now getting nicely up to speed as well, 80 odd 90 kilometers per hour, which is much better than our previous team. Polymove managed to reach. Another glitch there, so that's great. Again, everything around them will slow down for 10 seconds. But they've slowed down as well. That's always a problem, that they possibly haven't calculated what the other car's going to do. Oof. So a car's just gone past them. It's overtaken them. Looks like they're approaching quite a lot of traffic ahead. 3 cars, it looks like. So let's see how they navigate this. Ilya, what are you making of this so far? It's pretty tricky, right?
Yeah, it's tricky, and actually it's exciting to see how we are dealing with it. I mean, there is a lot of mistakes, issues that need to be resolved and fixed, but like anyway, it's quite interesting to see. There is a lot of objects that we need to overtake and like understand what's the best strategy to take. So it's an interesting challenge for us.
Maxim, it must be really nice actually to sit back and watch all your work in front of you, right? Maxim's focus as well. Anyway, go out to Ilya.
Maxim is too concentrated.
I'm so excited because it's a lot of stuff going on the track. Yeah, I'm like so.
I know, it's brilliant.
Pretty concentrated.
No worries, I'll let you guys just watch and I'll just chat.
Yeah, the speed is not so great. Our speed is not so great because we significantly reduce like our performance level. Yeah, but we are pretty much good with like dynamic objects. I think it's great. Yeah, we are slow, but
3.5 minutes.
It looks really nice.
Not this time.
Yes. Yeah, but it is actually, if we're talking about racing, we like did a proper line. We like fight for apex, and like there was no room for us driver. They hit us.
Also, yeah, I would like to mention that I like that we have a lot of our cars on the track. Also, we need to change like Robocar to our SAT car, and it will be like a perfect environment for us.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? 23 ghost cars on track at one time, which is pretty tricky for every team. But again, here we go, getting up to a bit more speed. But again, going around this corner, you have to really focus to not exceed track limits. You got that glitch though, which is great for you guys, slowing everything else down so you can navigate. And another one as well. Okay, nice. So that is 20 seconds of slow moving traffic ahead of you. And smash that obstacle, it looked like there. None of it registered, but that's good if it didn't. Not long to go though, 2.5 minutes. I'm getting a little bit animated. I need to just calm down and just focus like you guys. Get the glitch. No, couldn't quite get it. Woo! This is good, I like this. And at least when you crash into a vehicle, it doesn't actually affect the car, which is great, because that would be pretty costly. We've seen some trouble with the SIT car before, of course. Okay. It's a shame though, guys, isn't it, that obviously you had a bit of a bad first attempt, because I'm sure if this was your first attempt, you could have progressed so much better after this. 3 in a row obstacles there. Not great for SIT. 1:48 time credit. Is that how it finished? 1:48? Looks like 1:48 on the clock, guys. Great job. Woo! Sigh of relief there. Well, that was SIT's attempt from last time out at our Offsprint time challenge. They finished second there behind Team ARG. We're still waiting for them to get ready for their second attempt here this time. But whilst we wait, actually, we have a live feed we're going to show you. It's live from Vegas inside the workshop. This, look at it, is so cool. That's happening right now. This is where we saw the various competition vehicles used during the series. So our dev bots and our robocars. And here you can see one of our robocars hooked up to data and power in the corner. You can see that there, can't you? And the reason for that is because when a sim challenge is actually running, we actually use the Robocar's computer units to drive the virtual AI. So that's technically in use right now. There's a NVIDIA Drive PX for the autonomous driving system, and then a Speed Goat for the real-time motor control. So although the car looks like it's not moving anywhere, data is actually flooding in and out of it constantly. So that looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like something from the future. It's so slick, isn't it? Yeah, let's have a look there then. So we can see that the AI LED is on top there, and it switches from green where it's at. I'm going to see if it switches to blue. If it does, that means the vehicle systems are moving into full autonomous mode. Normally, when we see that on track, it means the car is about to drive itself off the line. But here it means the vehicle has received its commands from the Metaverse Control Center, and it's ready to execute. So that's the green LED on top there. And in many respects, it's like the car is just streaming. It's stationary at the moment. So yeah, as far as it's concerned, I should think right now, it's waiting on the line at the Anglesey circuit, ready to start a challenge when Team SIT are ready and raring to go. Oh, there it is. It's flashing. It's gone blue. Woo! For their second attempt. So it's gone blue now, so it actually is in autonomous mode. And you can see the engineers have put a display there, so we can see the sim running in tandem as well, and that's when the vehicle is experiencing. So yeah, I just hope the engineers have put the parking brake on though, because we wouldn't like that to go out on the Speedway circuit, because I have no idea what's happening at the Speedway circuit today. Hopefully there's nothing on track, because otherwise that'd be around there at 200 kilometers per hour, and that would not be good, would it? But I think the garage looks awesome. So I hope you guys were pretty excited to see that, as I was. I got a little glimpse of it yesterday. I was like, this is so cool to see the car there in action. I believe SIT are ready for their second attempt. Let's hope the ghost cars are out on track this time. Andy, are you ready?
I'm ready. The team are ready. Let's hope all of our ghost car drivers have made it to the circuit now, because we need them out there to really make this as big a challenge as we possibly can for the teams. How cool was that, though, seeing the way that we actually utilise the real world car for these sim events? I think that's something that's truly unique. I've never seen anything like that before. That's really cool and very Roborace, isn't it, really, to be trialling these brand new technologies. So hopefully all of that is now being used correctly. Hopefully all of the ghost cars are being loaded into the sim, and after a few moments we should get the car back on its way then. Now, the first time around, if you're just joining us, SIT, Acronis SIT, they've already had one go at this, but because of an error, there were no ghost cars out there for them to deal with. They still had the gizmos, though, to avoid, and they avoided every single one. I didn't see them hit one of them in their first attempt. They got about 3 or 4 kilometers into it before we abandoned it to try again. And they also managed to collect quite a few of the glitches. A reminder, the gizmos, they're the purple wall-shaped things with faces, because why not, which move from side to side. There you can see one in the background, and they will all now spring into life because the sim, as you can say, is active. We're underway. The glitches are the little stars which they collect, and hopefully some ghost cars out there as well. They just nip up the inside there of one of those obstacles. I can see a DevBot 2.0 in the distance, which is what we're using for our ghost cars. So it looks like the sim is now fully active. Up through the tight little sequence of corners here, then they've got one of those glitches. They slow everything down to 2 kilometers now. That's virtually nothing. But you can see actually one of the other problems that presents. It means that these ghost cars are now stationary, often right on the bit of the course that the team wants to use. And that's quite interesting, actually, seeing the way that they might have to handle that. Again, all really quick decisions that have to be made by the AI at the very last second. I thought they might have collected that gizmo there, but they just about managed to squeeze through. Look how slowly these ghost cars are moving. So far, the team's car has not been slowed down at all. They've managed to keep their speed up all the way, moving through that really tight gap between the ghost cars and the gizmo. Managed to do pretty perfectly. I mean, this is blowing me away, honestly. If you joined us for the Offsprint in time a few weeks ago, then you'll have seen that a lot of the teams really struggled to avoid the ghost cars, and in trying to avoid a ghost car, they might have inadvertently made contact with one of the gizmos, but not happening at the moment. Roborace SIT Autonomous are putting in a bit of a perfect performance here, really. So you can see as well in the top left-hand corner of the screen, they are now about a third of the way through then, just over 3 kilometres completed. Speed building here, what's the top speed going to be? About 140 kilometres an hour down there, but they should be able to go quicker at other parts of the course. It all got a bit busy there, didn't it? They had some glitches to the right, they had a gizmo in the middle of the road, and they had the ghost car as well. 182 kilometres an hour, that was quick. But that's a bit of a risk, isn't it? The faster you're going, the more dangerous it could be to collect one of these obstacles. And if they were to have hit an obstacle, then they would have gone straight on at the hairpin. But I don't know why I'm saying this, because they haven't shown any indication that they're going to hit any of these obstacles so far. They approach halfway through. So they had 8 minutes, remember. They were credited with 8 minutes at the start, which means in theory they will be wanting to get down to 5 kilometres to go with at least half of that time left, and they're going to do that easily, aren't they? 5 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Round the outside now. Did they clip those cars? No, I think they were okay. Let's see if it slows down. Yeah, the speed's still moving, so that's okay. We are now halfway through then, and they've got 5 1/4 minutes or so to go, so it looks as though they are going to make it to the end. The question now then becomes how much time they'll have left. Remember, the winner of tonight's challenge, the Offsprint Dark Isle, is the team that have the most time left on the clock when they finish the 10Ks. So they want to try and get there as quickly as they can. It's not just about getting there before the 8 minutes is up. Oh, now, hello. That was some caution there from the AI. The road was completely blocked there, did you see, with the gizmo and the ghost car as well. And so rather than carrying on full speed, the car really slowed down to make sure it didn't hit them. They're getting overtaken now, look, by the ghost cars. That's an added complication. And I thought they might have got stuck at 170 kilometres an hour then, but I think they're okay. They've managed to carry on, make their way back up the hill. But the further into this we get, the busier it's getting out on track with all of these ghost cars. We believe we've got a little bit easy on them. We're just using 12 ghost cars for tonight's sim racing challenge, and that was close. The car went to take the line there, didn't it? But those ghost cars were in the way. It almost lost control, but shows how close to the edge they are. They're definitely not hanging around here. As fast as they possibly can. Into the last 2.5 kilometres now, then, making really, really good time. I reckon they're going to get to the end here with possibly a couple of minutes still to go, actually. Now, last time out, the winning team, Autonomous Racing Rats, had 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. That was the best that any team could do in the off-sprinting time. Are we going to improve on that here? Remember, this in theory is harder to do, actually, because of the chance that your speed could get frozen completely. But that only affects you if you hit these obstacles, and they just haven't come close to them. Every time that I thought they might slip up, they've managed to regain control. Again, they slow down the ghost cars there by getting that gizmo. Purple and yellow stars. They're good. You want to collect as many of those as possible. That was a tight gap that they squeezed through there. They are into the last kilometre now, so really just a couple more corners to go. They've got another long blast down this next straight to try and pick up some speed. That was a risky overtake. Just got through without hitting the ghost car. And now they can open the taps then down the back straight up to 170, 188, 190 odd kilometres now. That was the fastest we've seen it go so far. And then it really slows down for the final corner then. And now up towards the end, 0.2, 0.1 kilometres, and when it goes down to 0, we are done. And that happens now with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock. We'll make a note of that then, because that is the time now for everyone else to beat. What a fantastic effort that was. That was pretty much perfect. That they managed to avoid all of the obstacles. They made all of the overtakes successfully, got quite a lot of the glitches. And the speed, 190 odd kilometres an hour, that was fantastic. Well, we'll get all of the thoughts of the team in a few moments or two. We'll give them a moment just to evaluate what will happen there. And we'll be back after this very short break with all of the reaction.
How do you take control of a world that doesn't stand still? That's where we come in. We're creating a digital representation of the physical world, every road, every building, every vehicle, every device, every street sign, every traffic light, everything, to help you find the best path and anticipate what's ahead, to empower your fleet to run faster and more efficiently, to ensure your advertising reaches the right audience, and to let you optimize your supply chain like never before. All this is now a reality. At the heart of HERE Technologies is the reinvention of the thing we used to call a map, continuously updating and evolving from 2 dimensions to 3, from outdoors to indoors, and from human scale to machine scale, where accuracy is measured in centimeters. This reimagined map is the core enabling dataset for the 21st century, the foundation for endless opportunity, for businesses, for cities, for people, and for society as a whole. Welcome to HERE.
Hiya and welcome back to our Roborace Sim Racing Challenge. Offsprint Dark Isle SIT just completed their second attempt and it was pretty good, wasn't it? Have a look at the results there on screen. So 225, 196 guys left on the clock. That was better than even our best team. I know it was a different track last time out, Team ARG, and better than yours as well. Ilya, Maxim. Ilya, I'm going to come to you first. It looks pretty perfect. Would you agree?
Yeah, actually, to be honest, we didn't expect that it will be so nice. I mean, we expect that it will be some ramps and collisions with different obstacles, but I think it was quite clear, and we really love the results. And yeah, it's hard to compare with previous round because, as you said, it's different tracks, different set of obstacles, different set of goal scars. So I believe for us this time will be a benchmark and not like we can compare with previous time. And also I would like to highlight that I really love the skins of goal scars.
Nice, you like livery. Oh, it was quite nice, wasn't it? The yellow and the black and the different colours going on there. I thought it looked cool as well. Maxim, let's come to you because there was one point I think which Andy said in commentary. It looked like the road was completely blocked. And your bot navigated that perfectly. Again, Ilya said he didn't expect it to go so well. What was going through your head when you could see that there was a couple of ghost cars on track, there was a gizmo, there was an obstacle, and your car still navigates still?
Yeah, I'm actually was just looking on this because I can do nothing. I'm just watching.
I know.
And yeah, there wasn't any like things about what's going on in the future. We just did perfect run and I'm just happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ilya, how does that feel when you are just sitting there and you have no control for those 8 minutes on what is happening on the circuit? All your hard work's done and you're just watching everything unfold before you.
It's quite nervous, to be honest. You know, you already did what you can, and now you can do nothing. You can just watch, and you don't know what to expect. I mean, it could fail, or it could go like very smooth and nice. So that's why we are really like watching this with high heartbeat.
Because, I mean, in sport, you'd liken that, wouldn't you, to an athlete and a coach. You guys, the coaches, watching your athlete compete. But if you were in an arena, you'd be able to shout at your athlete to tell them to do something else. You have no control over it. You literally have to sit back. So maybe it's more like tennis where you can't really scream at your athlete out there on court. But Maxim, I'll come to you next and speak a little bit about the gizmos, because obviously we know if you hit, then everything's slowed down. How crucial was that, or how important was that, or did you not really even seem to be impacted by that?
Yeah, sometimes Gizmo, it is a really good instrument because you can slow down only to 0 kilometers and overtake like static objects, but sometimes it can completely change the situation when, for example, Gizmos, the speed actually is like, I think, I don't know exactly how much is it, but it's very speed. And when you, for example, take the loot before Gizmo, it will completely ruin your prediction, your planning, and you need like new plan, but you're already so close and there's no way to avoid the obstacle. And yeah, in this situation, it is really challenging problem in terms of planning. And sometimes, yeah, it can work perfectly, for example, like with ghost cars, and when you have a lot of distance. And if generally speaking, we have like, it is really complex situation, and sometimes if only one part will not work properly, it will completely ruin your planning, your like prediction, everything. And it is like a very tricky game, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. We see how much goes into it from all of the teams involved. My final question, I'm just going to say, Ilya, were you surprised also how fast you managed to go out there? I think it was a top speed of just over 190 kilometers per hour, nearing the end of your go there, which I thought was amazing. Were you surprised at that?
Actually, we reached such speeds during our testing, so not like really surprised, because I mean, we know that we can control our car at such speeds. At least at simulator we tried it. So yeah, so it's not like a big surprise.
Well, your next, I guess, ambition then is to go at those kind of speeds when we're allowed back on track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway Circuit, which fingers crossed will be in December. So guys, thank you so much, and well done as well to Team SIT.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you, Maxim. Thank you, Ilya. 2:25 on the clock for Team SIT. We still have Polymove to come, but unfortunately one of our other teams, Team Arrival, who you guys will really know because they've been a part of the Roborace project since 2015, since its inception. They unfortunately will not be joining us this time, but we can have a little look right now at how they got on last time out.
Human.
Yeah, they are started.
Excellent. Well, they're going slowly. That's not a good sign. That probably means they've hit something. They went for a gizmo there, though, and that does help them out a little bit more. It just slows down the metaverse a little bit. If they get one of those gizmos, remember, that slows down the obstacles that they're trying to avoid, and in theory makes it easier for them to overtake them. And that was what they said their priority was going to be, remember. They wanted to get, so too, I'm afraid, is Arrival's machine. So you can see the difficulty here, though, because they're trying to plan how to overtake the traffic, but they've also got to try and avoid the obstacle. They're weaving around there to try and miss it, and they slow down so much to avoid it, and then still end up hitting it anyway, so it's almost a double penalty, really. Through the tight right-hander, this is where ARG had their problems earlier on, I think, at this corner. And although Arrival stay on the track, they did hit the Ghost car there, so a little bit of a delay. They go for a gizmo. Now that will slow everything down, but they've also hit an obstacle, I think, which is why they slowed down at that point. They do safely miss the next one. So we are almost 2 minutes in then, so we should be approaching, if they're on ARG's pace anyway, we should be approaching about the 1/3 distance, about 2.2 kilometers into the run very shortly. Through the first corner. Well, they're going slowly. That's not a good sign. That probably means they've hit something. They went for a gizmo there, though, and that does help them out a little bit more. It just slows down the metaverse a little bit. If they get one of those gizmos, remember, that slows down the obstacles that they're trying to avoid, and in theory makes it easier for them to overtake them. And that was what they said their priority was going to be, remember. They wanted to be able to safely negotiate all of the traffic, all of the ghost cars, the dynamic obstacles. There you can see some of the traffic based around this course. The well, slowing down again there, I think, as they make their way through. But so too, I'm afraid, is a rival's machine. So you can see the difficulty here, though, because they're trying to plan how to overtake the traffic, but they've also got to try and avoid the obstacle. They're weaving around there to try and miss it, and they slow down so much to avoid it, and then still end up hitting it anyway. So it's almost a double penalty, really. The tight right-hander. This is where ARG had their problems earlier on, I think, at this corner. And although Arrival stay on the track, they did hit the ghost car there, so a little bit of a delay. They go for a gizmo. Now that will slow everything down, but they've also hit an obstacle, I think, which is why they slowed down at that point. They do safely miss the next one. So we are almost 2 minutes in then, so we should be approaching, if they're on ARG's pace anyway, we should be approaching about the 1/3 distance, about 2.2 kilometers into the run very shortly. I'd say maybe they're a little bit slower than ARG at this point, but it's hard to get a proper gauge of that. Speed building there a little bit. The fastest part of the circuit is sort of round the back. Oh, that didn't look right. No, they've stopped. They've stopped. Arrival have stopped. So they sort of had a bit of a glitch there, didn't they? Where they hit an obstacle, I think, and then it was like something either disconnected or okay. Max is on it then. See what he can find out from them.
Well, it really wasn't Arrival's day, was it, last time out? A problem with the ADS not starting, and then they exceeded track limits. So unfortunately, they are not here today. But this man, Max, he's back. He's here today as well as last time. He's from Roborace as well. He's from Russia, guys. I mean, long way away from where I am in the UK. I know he's loving my introduction here. Max, how are you doing? I hear you've had a bit of a stressful day.
Yeah, I am doing fine now, but it was really stressful today because we faced some issues at the last minute, as always. Yeah. Also, we are using 2 setups of RMC and ADS the first time in reason to decrease preparation time of the teams, and it was the first test made. Yeah, and managing 2 setups may cause connection issues. Yeah, it really, yeah, it really hard.
That's a lot of problems because
all stuff.
Yeah, so Max, last time out, if I remember, we had to actually wait for the teams to upload and then download their bots before the other team could actually have a go. So is that why you've got 2 systems this time?
Yeah, that's the reason why we use 2 systems. When the first team is doing their mission, the second team is uploading software to the second setup, to the Drive PX, to the Speed Goat, and we just need to switch between these setups correctly and in the proper time.
I mean, there's loads that you do. You control quite a lot of things as well as what you were just speaking about, don't you?
Yeah, really. But my general role is compose all services that we are using together and test that every service works properly. And it's really hard to debug such a complex system with various components. But thanks all our developing team. They are really great guys who can help and sort out with any issues anytime. Yeah, thanks them.
Yeah, I mean, big team that you guys have here at Roborace as well. Max, quickly a word on SIT then. They obviously had their second attempt because their first one we had no ghost cars out on track. I won't look at you for blaming on that one because I know you had a stressful day, so it's fine. We'll go to their second their second attempt was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was yeah, really good. I watched their attempt on the race control on the mission control center. Yeah, and it was really impressive when they avoid collisions with the ghost cars. It was very, very, very impressive. And yeah, SIT is my favorite team.
They're my favourite team as well. We shouldn't have favourites, but you didn't hear me say that. But compared to last time as well, Max, SIT have made such improvements because they had to use their second attempt last time as well, but that's because they had problems themselves on their first attempt. Did you expect them to make those kind of improvements with only about 10 days, 2 weeks that they have done today?
Yeah, I think that we will improve all our system. I think to have more time for the teams to properly test their software. Yeah, and I think it will help teams to solve all their issues, and we will have more teams on the next Offsprint at the same time, not only 2 teams.
Yeah, no, we hope that because we thought we were going to have 3, didn't we, tonight? Really unfortunate at the last minute that our winners from last time, Team ARG, have pulled out. Do you know much about what problems they're facing and why we had to say goodbye to them already tonight before they even started?
They were on the second environment, but as far as I know, there are no problems with fully move on the second environment, and IRG faced issues yesterday too. I'm afraid about fault from our side, but I hope that everything is okay with using both setups at the same time. And also I tested our test driver on the both setups before the mission, and everything was fine.
Okay, yeah, we hope it's not a Roborace problem and the teams can figure it out, because Polymove, obviously, they're still here tonight, and we can't wait to see how they get on in a short while. Max, I'll let you have a well-deserved break at the moment, because it's time now to have a little look and see how ARG got on last time out, because they were top of the pile. They were doing so well, and it's so unfortunate they're not here to experience this Offsprint Dark Isle with us tonight. But let's have a little recap now on how they got on last time.
So, just like that then, ARG are off. Good stuff, Max, and we've got everything working properly as it should be. So off they go then. There's the first of those obstacles they have to miss, and they've done that successfully. Another one there just as they turn into the first corner. So you can see now everything in the metaverse. Those purple blocks there, I think, or a bit of traffic, then they will end up having a reduction of speed. So if you see the vehicle suddenly slow, and that is why, through another obstacle there that they collect, and that just means they can't get up to speed out of the corner. So you can see the time that this can lose you. This time looks like they will, but to overtake the traffic, sometimes they're in danger of hitting one of the dynamic obstacles as well. So that's another factor. That looks as though a slightly cleaner sequence of corners there, but they go into the back of another bit of traffic and they almost go off the road, and they are off the road. Oh, ARG, it has all gone wrong. Again now, top left corner of the screen, vehicle is reaching up to almost 180. Encounters a bit of traffic, goes straight through it though, and that means the speed slows down again. Look at that, almost down to 25 kilometers an hour. So we're through that section a bit cleaner this time. So I don't know if that was something that the AI was doing differently, or whether they just got a bit luckier with the timing of it all. Again, they go straight through that dev bot, and that will mean they slow down for the corner. Again, down to about 25, 26 kilometers an hour. Kilometers in one piece, yes they are. And speed was picking up. It's so frustrating when they start to accelerate and then they just barely catch one of those obstacles. But they have completed, I reckon, about just over 3 kilometers then. So they're about a third of the way through. And already this is going better than in their first try. The time then remaining, you can see the time credit there in the top left corner. They've used just over 2 minutes. So if they keep this speed up, they should get to the end within the 8 minutes. But remember, the team that has the most time left at the end of their run of 9.5 kilometers or so, they are the winners. So it's not just beating that 8 minutes, it's how much you beat it by. They've really had to slow down there, haven't they? And then that messes up the timing for the next obstacle as well. So you lose time by hitting one, and that means that you're almost more likely to hit another one. And again, the car's going to be going so slowly, it'll be going backwards if they go any slower. Really having to reduce the speed through the hairpin. They make their way back through again. So their first sort of 3 kilometers or so were completed in, what did I say, about 2 minutes. See if I think maybe a bit slower in this portion of the run, and set a strong benchmark for the 3 other teams to follow. Down there, 2 obstacles, that was a bit sneaky, and they're both moving at different speeds, which made it really difficult to miss them, but that was a little bit of luck, I think, maybe there, which enabled them to avoid it. Now into this final couple of bends they go. Time ticking on down. Can they get there before it's 2.5 minutes left? Nearly there. They've got another couple of corners to get through. No, they're not, are they? Going to be another 15, 20 seconds or so. They need to try and avoid this bit of traffic. Yes, nicely. Oh, they just caught it. Just caught it. And then they hit it again properly because it got in the way into the next turn. It was almost perfect, though. That was almost a perfect overtake. Right then, out of the last corner, I think, now heading towards the end of the 9.5 kilometers. Can they get more than 2 minutes on the clock? They make an effort there to avoid the obstacles, and they're off the road, but I think they crossed the line. I think they've got to the end because the time has stopped. So a spectacular ending there, but I think they did get to the finish just before they went off the road completely. So finishing with style, that's what they were doing, I think. 2 minutes and 13 seconds then we've got, but we'll get that all confirmed.
Well, a big well done once again then to Team ARG, who were our winners last time out. Really annoying that we don't get to see them tonight, because I'm sure if they'd got to the start line, they would have gone even better. Well, let's get back to tonight, heading on to our next and final team. They're also the newest member to join the Roborace family. It's Team Polymove. Team Polymove. Hi guys, how are you all doing? I hope you're ready for this one, because there's only 2 of you guys tonight now. So SIT have already gone, and we called it a pretty near perfect run out there. You guys are obviously up next. I don't know who's going to be the spokesman out of you 4, but I'll go with any of you. How do you see this panning out tonight for you guys, considering last time it didn't go so well?
Well, should I go, guys? It's pretty strange to be in the competition with just one other team today, but yeah, I can imagine that it was hard to manage for the other teams to prepare. We also struggled a lot to arrive prepared for this new event, and we hope it's gonna go better than the last time. Because yeah, you know, it wasn't perfect run for us last time, so we tried to fix most of the problems we had, and so I hope that it's gonna be better this time.
Yeah, I think Max there was just saying that a couple of the teams been struggling with the second environment. What have you been struggling with most? You said it was quite difficult as well for you guys to be ready today.
It's most problems came from the short time we had to prepare this, because like the rule set is similar to the other event, but like something changed, like some logics in the our interaction with the objects on track, and especially the track itself is totally different from the one we saw last time. We were in Las Vegas, now we are in Wales, and it's a totally different track, so we also had to adjust our driver for this new environment. So we hope we did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at my notes from last time out. You might have to correct me if I was wrong, but I think your second attempt, you got stuck behind some traffic that you didn't particularly calculate for. Was that the case, and how have you calculated for that going forward for this event?
We took into account this time, that we know it can happen. Last time we weren't prepared for that, so I think we won't have the same problem. We still haven't the perfect strategy to manage those situations that are not so like racetrack like. Usually in a racetrack there is no stopped cars, but we tried to do our best to react also to this strange situation that Max always puts on his events. So hope it's gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. We hope he actually gets the ghost cars out as well this time. Obviously, we saw that SOT had to their second attempt because Max may have been slacking on his job a little bit there. I'm not going to say he's accountable, but he may have been. In terms of what you're hoping then for this time out, is it just to develop on last time, get a time on the board? What have you guys been working on and you're looking to achieve this time?
Oh, well, maybe I'll let someone else answer this.
I mean, from a development point of view, we are working really hard in order to be able to manage, let's say, traffic-like scenarios, like city car scenarios, because that's what the last challenges have been about. So our software was thought, let's say, to race head-to-head. So we had the, let's say, opportunity and chance to explore new, let's say, situation for our AI software, and we are making constantly some updates and changes in order to adapt our software to, let's say, various and let's say also complicated scenarios with many objects on the track, with many obstacles, with many cars, with many glitches, and also the fact that there are many glitches and the fact that the traffic slows down a lot. That also complicates a lot all the predictions that we make about what the ghost cars are going to do, how they're going to behave. So the complexity is getting really high, and we are really pushing toward that direction, and we are developing our software to be capable of, let's say, dealing with that situations. Hopefully one day we will arrive at the level of Acronis. We are trying to, and we are pushing really hard to catch on them.
Well, we hope so as well. One final question. Is there anything in the metaverse tonight, I mean, there's a lot of it, that you are particularly worried about and that you're not quite sure how your team is going to get on when you get out on track?
Yeah, our biggest, let's say, concern and fear is about crossing obstacles. This kind of objects is the, let's say, latest addition to the metaverse, latest object that were added. So we need to adapt our software to avoid this kind of dynamical objects. And again, same, let's say, thought I said for the ghost cars. Also, when you hit the glitch, the crossing obstacle slows down, so you have to predict where they will be, and that's not an easy task for our software. So we are really trying to, let's say, increase the capability of our software towards that direction.
Well, there's so much, guys, out there that you have to get your heads around. There's the gizmos, there's the obstacles, there's the ghost cars, there's the glitches. I wish you all the best of luck out there, because it's going to be a testing challenge, but I'm sure you guys are up for it. So, yeah, without further ado, this is your first attempt. Good luck, Team Polymove. Andy, over to you.
Thanks, Rach. Yeah, here we go then. The newest member of the Roborace gang, Team Polymove from Italy, ready to get going. And they've been so impressive, haven't they, since they joined Roborace only really a short time ago. Just before season beta was sort of put on this temporary hold, that's when Polymove sort of joined us, and they were straight away bang on the pace. Really, really impressive to see. They'll be hoping now to make a similar improvement to the one that we've just seen from Acronis SIT. Now, off we go then. They're off to a very quick start, weaving over into the middle of the track. Let's see how they handle all of the obstacles that are going to be thrown their way. They head towards the first corner and straight into a gizmo. That wasn't a good start. Now, look, the speed has been, in theory, frozen for 15 seconds, although it doesn't appear to have been, so we'll figure that out in a moment. But they did seem to go straight through the gizmo there on the racing line. They get one of the glitches though. They slow everything down, and this should now make things easier. Now they've been slowed down themselves as well, so the penalty does happen then, slows them down as they head down what should be one of the fastest parts of the circuit. More of these obstacles to avoid. Looks like the car is sort of making some effort to avoid them, but not that successfully. Look, and now it hits another one heading down into the left-hander there. So this is a bit of a messy run so far, perhaps from Polymove, but they're they do their best to gain some time back. They won't necessarily be too worried about beating SIT as much as improving on what they did last time, because this is all in such an experimental phase of development. It's although there is clearly a competition here, it's more important that the team are learning and the team are getting better every time they try this. Out of the hairpin then, we are coming up towards the quarter distance then. Oops, and the ghost car right in the way. The bot sort of weaving around a little bit strangely here, isn't it? I think it's getting a bit confused as to where some of these obstacles are. And now it slows down, gets overtaken, look, by the ghost car. Almost, but then they got a glitch, so the ghost car slowed down as well, just overtaking the dev bot there through the middle part of the corner. So a couple of mistakes here early on then, but as I said, they're not doing a bad job, given the fact they've had so much less time to prepare for Roborace competition on the whole, really, compared with the likes of Arrival Racing and SIT, who have been in this pretty much since the start. They've been got a few years worth of Roborace experience under their belts now, so Polymove, the progress they've made in such a short space of time is really impressive. They're slowing again there. It did look as though they got safely around the obstacle. Now that's that was an unnecessary amount of weaving, because they weaved left, right to try and avoid that obstacle, and then ran straight into it anyway. So that was a little bit unfortunate, and now they are being frozen, look, at a lower speed. I think there's potential here, isn't there? They're definitely showing the ability to overtake some of the ghost cars. But I think it's maybe these obstacles that are just confusing it a little bit, although that was wasn't pretty, but they got round that gizmo. And they'll collect a glitch as well now, and I think those glitches are really important for Polymove. The more of those they can get, the slower the obstacles will move. Although it seems that actually their vehicle is slowing down almost more than the obstacles around them when they get those glitches, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Slow again. This is so painful to watch as the speed, you can see in the top left corner, the speed frozen at 49 kilometers now. That's how fast they were going when they hit the ghost cars there through that last corner. Now they can pick up the speed again. You can see how painful that can be. So remember, the time that they're trying to beat, set by SIT, they had 2 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock at the end of their run. So for that to happen here for Polymove, they need to be going a little bit quicker, because they're almost halfway through their run, nearly down to the 5 kilometer mark. In fact, they're going to hit 5 kilometers just as they hit 4 minutes. I think this could be really close as to whether they get through the entire 10 kilometers. Look at that, halfway through the time and halfway through the distance. So they need to pick up the speed a bit now, otherwise they do run the risk of spending all of their 8 minutes of time that they've been credited with at the start here. Oh, and that's not the way to do it. They drive straight through the ghost car there. Team looking really, really unhappy about that. That's got to be so frustrating here, because as Rachel was saying to SIT a few minutes ago, the teams are completely powerless at this stage as they're just watching their bot do its business, and getting really confused by these ghost cars that had stopped right in front of it then. So speed looks to have been frozen at 77 kilometers, although it does slow down for the corner. That's good to see. Going to come through then with 4 kilometers to go, and I'm not convinced they're going to be able to get this done. You know, I think the 8 minutes might just run out. They do though have a chance to try this again. Of course, they've got their second run that they can use if the first one isn't a success, but they have to tell us if they're going to use that. In fact, they can only use it if it's a failed or avoided attempt. So if they get to the end and they've still got time left on the clock, then as I understand it, they're not allowed to go again. A bit of speed now. They're getting one of the glitches there as they head up through this next sequence of corners known as Rocket at the Anglesey circuit, this little hairpin chicane, and accelerating back towards this tricky right-hander, which is looking a bit better though actually. They've not hit an obstacle for a little while, and this looks like maybe they're starting to, or the AI is starting to learn as it goes, or are they just getting a bit luckier with these obstacles? There do seem to be fewer ghost cars at this particular point, and we've got 12 of them, but they keep on circulating, so you'll catch them at different parts of the track. That was nice though, picking up some speed, nearly up to 100 kilometers an hour there. And then they get one of those gizmos, which has a very grumpy face on it. Not surprised, he's been run over by the on-move team there. So this is going to be tight then. They've got 1 minute and 45 to go and 2 kilometers left to run. So what do we think? Are they going to make it back through? The speed really picks up there. That's the fastest I think I've seen them go, 174, 5 kilometers an hour. That'll help. The more they can do that, the more chance they've got of making it to the finish here. Oh, but they've slowed down again. Why have they slowed down? Oh, because there's a couple of gizmos. There's a ghost car catching them. It all got a bit confusing there. And now they're going to get stuck weaving around, but they've already gone through the obstacle. Speed then frozen at 31 kilometers an hour, and just as they were starting to make time, looks like they're going to start losing it again. They've got just another handful of corners to get through, really. And they are running out of time fast then. Less than 60 seconds to go. They need a really clean next couple of corners, but look at all of these gizmos in front of them that are surely going to hold them up. They weave around one, almost off the track there. That was a bit close. Oh, and I think they did go off the track. Oh no, they just got a wheel on the grass, I think, there, as they were avoiding that gizmo, and that will void the run. So just as we were getting to the end then, the tiny little mistake. Now, was it a mistake or was that tactical? Did they want to use their second run? Remember, they're not allowed to use that second run unless they fail their first one. So Rachel might be able to have a chat with them in a bit. We'll find out if we can what's going on, but that's interesting then. Was it a mistake, or do they just want to have another go at this? They might feel that they can do a little bit better the second time around. So, dramatic stuff then from Team Polymove there. They were going to be really close on time at the end, but who knows, they might just have got there. Either way, it looks like this is going to have to go to a second attempt then for Team Polymove, and we'll see whether they can get to the end. So, building up to be a real grandstand finish, that, wasn't it, Rachel?
Well, it was going to be really close, wasn't it, Andy? That was going to be something that we could see. The clock was just ticking down there, and they still had about 1.2 kilometers to go. So we don't know if it was tactical or not, but that is obviously a failure. So if the teams were to get a failure, they were to use their second, they're able to get a second attempt. So we know they are going to go again and use up their final remaining attempt tonight. Okay, so that was Team Polymove, our second and final team to go out for this Offsprint Dark Isle sim racing challenge we have. They did take part in the Offsprint In Time challenge. That was a couple of weeks ago. Let's see how they got on last night. Okay, we're off. So we're looking to get past that 15-second mark, which is where Polymove unfortunately span off after their first attempt. Okay, they've hit another one of those obstacles. That does mean the dev bot is now slowing down, of course. So for a hit, they slow down by 40% for 5 seconds. For a smash, it's 80% decrease in speed. Woo! Down to 30 kilometers per hour at the moment. They've got to increase that speed if they are to get in and contest this competition here today. Again, don't want to hit many of these vehicles on track because that will also decrease their speed. But these glitches here, they've hit one. That's great. That means everything around them slows down by 15 kilometers per hour if they hit the glitch. Everything around them, if they hit something, then you can see they go super slow. I think they went down to about 15 kilometers per hour there. Okay, gaining speed again now, but not as fast as the teams who went before them. And have hit another one of those obstacles.
And unfortunately, we are not seeing any space to overtake them. So our driver reaction is like just wait for a better place to overtake the cars. The problem is that if the cars are going to 15 kilometers per hour, then we're slowing down as they are.
Yeah, that seems
my
to be the case, doesn't it?
So like we're probably choosing a bit too safe a strategy for this kind of race.
Yes, exactly. That was Polymove's aim. Remember, at the beginning, guys at home, they said they wanted a safe environment. They wanted to safely navigate the 9.55k traffic sprint, and they are doing that. Just possibly not as fast as
now I've seen a nice overtake, so I'm happy.
Okay, I love that the team's happy. Unfortunately, hit an obstacle there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
The clock is running down though. 4:35 left. We are very much stuck in traffic in rush hour at the moment.
So
you know what I'd liken this to in the UK? We'd probably call your driving like going out for a Sunday drive. It means going out for a slow drive on a Sunday, just meandering around the country roads here.
What's happening there?
Come on, Polymo.
Why there are ghost cars? Yeah, but
what's
going on? I mean, why ghost cars are stopped in the middle of the... there is no space to go.
The ghost cars completed their mission.
Is this it? Is it finished? Max?
No.
No, it's not finished.
Okay, we have 45 seconds left on the clock. Again, your car is loving following the traffic instead of overtaking it right now.
Yeah.
Come on. How long has it got left on the circuit? Not long, surely.
Yeah, I think it's not it's not enough. We'll probably...
Right,
we'll
25
make it to the
under
end
25 seconds. But at least, let's see how fast you can pick up speed at the end. Approaching 10 seconds left. So the clock is counting down. Just another glitch there, which is great for Polymove, of course. It says way, but the time
mission is over.
Unfortunately is up. The mission is over. Polymove, commiserations there, but massive positives. You stayed on track. You've learned that the vehicles, the ghost cars, can stop, so you need to calculate next time for that happening. And you must have loads of data as well to take away going forward.
So we, I think, have the car moving then out on the track now, and we are looking forward to seeing how the team get on this time then. Team Polymove. Apologies, I think perhaps my mic was muted then for a second, but I wasn't saying anything much of interest. I rarely do. The car is back on the move, though, as you can see, the second attempt here for Team Polymove. And let's see then if they are going to make it to the end of the course then. This was going to be really tight the first time. 9.65 kilometers they have to try and move through, and they have to try and do it within the 8-minute time limit that they've got. And well, so far they're keeping a slightly better average speed up, I think, than they were last time. They've still managed to collect a couple of these obstacles, though. Look, they've been frozen at 61 kilometers an hour. Thankfully they can get through this next corner at 65 kilometers an hour, though, just about. So back down the back straight they go then, and yeah, it was looking like it was going to be touch and go the last time. I wonder what the team have been able to do, though, to improve things this time. I'd imagine it's quite limited what they can change from one run to the next. So certainly you can see the looks of concentration on their faces now. I thought it would stop them, but it keeps on going. That's good news. So they've got through the first few kilometres unscathed, and they haven't yet been off the track, which is what happened to them at the end of their first attempt. They put just one wheel barely onto the grass, and that was enough in the end to void that first run and force them into this second go. So we're not seeing quite as much of this sort of weird weaving around that the vehicle was doing last time, are we? So it looks like they have managed to improve something then. It looked almost like the AI was getting confused as to how close the obstacles were, but now it seems to be a little bit better through the next corner. Yeah, you can see they're sort of sticking to a better racing line now, and not slowing down quite as much as they were. So I think this is definitely an improvement. We'll know more when they get to about the halfway mark. 9.65 kilometers the total. So I think I've been saying 10 kilometers. It's almost 10 kilometers that they have to complete. And you know that thing that I said it wasn't doing? It just did it again then. It almost stopped and then weaved around for no obvious reason. But they're doing it less than they had been. At least that's something. There's another one of these gizmos. They slow down to go to one side, and now that must have been off the track. Surely, yeah, it was. They're off the track, and that was their final attempt. So a little mistake there as they tried to go to the right of that gizmo, and the car just swerved a little bit too much, and that unfortunately put them on the grass, and that's going to be that then. So we never will know whether they were going to get to the end of the course then. That is such a shame, because it did look like they were improving the second time, but we didn't really get far enough in to get a proper gauge as to how well they were doing. We'll find out more, though, about what happened, not just in that second attempt, but also what happened in the first one. Rachel will be here with the team with the full debrief from Team Polymove in just a few minutes' time.
The modern world is a digital world. At home, at work, or on the go. We rely on data every day. Losing it can result in lost family photos, lost business, or even a lost job. Want to avoid these problems? You need cyber protection, where backup and cybersecurity meet. Only Acronis offers backup solutions that also stop ransomware before your files are damaged. It's easy, efficient, and secure cyber protection for all your data. Try Acronis free for 30 days. Go to acronis.com today for modern cyber protection.
Welcome back to a Roborace Sim Challenge, Offsprint Dark Isle. We just saw Polymove with their second attempt before the break. It didn't quite go to plan. Guys, I want to bring you back in and have a little bit of a chat about what unfolded there. Because, let's talk about your first attempt first. Am I right in thinking you guys exceeded track limits on purpose because the time was going to run out? What happened on the first attempt?
I have to be honest. It wasn't that like it was simply that we had the same problem in both runs, like trying to maneuvering between this moving gizmos is quite difficult. We're still not so able to do that, and the point is that we probably planned the right trajectory, but we weren't able to follow it correctly. That's our clue. So we have to work better on that part of the driver, that once he knows the road, he has to follow it precisely. And that is what lacked in our driver today.
But you got within almost 1K of finishing, didn't you, in your first attempt? Your second attempt, unfortunately, you didn't get too far. Was that still just due to the gizmo then?
Yeah, I think so. Like the problem, I think, is we have to look carefully at the data we collected, but I think we had the same problem in both runs. It was like a too sharp maneuver for our driver. So once we try to follow that maneuver, we are not so precise in following that, and so we overshoot our planned maneuver and we got out of track. That's what happened, I think.
But some positives as always. I think you got up to about 170 kilometers per hour. Were you happy with that?
Of course, that's great speed. Like we don't really have the benchmark on this track because we never really ran there, but it seems a pretty high speed, so we're very satisfied with that.
Yeah, absolutely, because you were one of our latest additions, of course, to Roborace, which meant that you guys didn't compete on the Anglesey circuit at the beginning of season beta. But what can you now, all of you, develop going forward? Because you'll be back, I know you will, for our next challenge. What will you really try and work on?
Well, I think this thing I just mentioned, so we have to add some precision in our driving capabilities, because we still have to work on planning, because still we have some problems in avoiding all that traffic on track, but we still have to work on the ability, once we plan something, to really track it precisely, because one cannot work without the other.
No, precision is key, isn't it? Especially with what we're looking to achieve in the future. If these cars are going to be out on the road, we don't want anyone hitting anybody out there. That would not be great. So guys, please do work on the precision, and we really hope you'll come back and join us next time for our next Offsprint sim racing challenge. So Polymove, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye. Well, there you go. That's Team Polymove there. Really unlucky for them to have another failure. Obviously, they failed in our first attempt as well. Got so close, didn't they? Max, I'll bring you in first, because they were with 1.2 kilometers of the finishing distance. And then they just said their precision wasn't quite right, and the gizmos seemed to really upset their calculations. I mean, what did you make of their attempts out there today? Max, can you hear me?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, obviously about Polymove there. Really unlucky. What did you make of their performances?
Yeah, I think it is the lack of testing maybe, and a lack of luck.
Yeah, luck's got to come down to it as well. Andy, how disappointed were you for the team?
Yeah, disappointed for the team, disappointed for us as well. I wanted to see whether they could make it. I was on the edge of my seat here, seeing if they'd get there before the time ran out. But, I said we'd see teams struggle a little bit. It's really hard what they're doing out there. And when you've chatted to the teams, they've sort of explained a bit why it's so difficult. The slightest thing that goes against their plan, and it completely messes up all of their other calculations. So, disappointed, but not really a surprise. Hopefully they'll be better next time.
Yeah, Max, can you possibly give us a little hint of what to expect next time out for our next challenge? Do you have anything up your sleeve? Are you going to challenge and test the teams even more?
I think that teams need more time for testing, And I think that we need to stabilize all our software, and teams should have stabilized platform for testing for maybe 1 whole or 2 weeks before the Offsprint.
Okay, cool. Andy, I want to talk about the fact that, you know, for our first event, we had 4 teams. For our second event, unfortunately, we only had 2 because one dropped out, Team ARG, at the last minute. Arrival had some problems before that. Is that a usual thing in sim racing for these teams not to possibly be ready for the event and then kind of just say, actually, hold my hands up, I'm not quite ready, I'm going to drop out? Is that just a reflection of how difficult these sim racing environments can be?
In my experience, there are usually 2 reasons that someone might drop out of a traditional sim racing event. One is because their internet's playing up. You'd like to think that these big, fancy, really clever groups of people have remembered to plug the Ethernet cable into the back of the PC, so I'd like to think it's not that. The other reason is that they start off and they think they're going to win and they think they're the best driver in the world, and then they kind of realise, oh, maybe we're not, and then they give up. Again, I really hope that's not what's happened here, and I'm convinced it's not. I think they've just, the challenge that we've set for the teams is just so difficult. And, you know, we've seen in the real world competition as well, sometimes the teams have every intention of competing, and we find out sometimes on the day, even, you know, half an hour before they're due to send their AI out onto the circuit, that they're just not quite ready. And I think a lot of them are very aware of the fact that they're doing this, it's a very experimental thing, they're still developing all of their software, but they're doing it in front of a public audience. And I think there's maybe an element of self-preservation. You know, they don't want to make a complete fool of themselves, they'd rather make sure that everything's working as it should and then come out and show us what they can do.
Yeah, Max, talking of that, do we know what was the problem with Arrival heading into this competition, and why they didn't decide they were going to compete this time out?
As far as I know, they are migrating to the other model of path planning, and they are focused on it, and they are still not ready to participate in the Offsprint, but I hope that the next time, maybe on the Offsprint 4, and hopefully on the mission on the real track on the Las Vegas, they will participate, because as far as I remember, they were on the first positions on the season beta missions.
Yeah, no, obviously they've been doing really well, haven't they, in season beta? They started the season off so great, had a bit of a blip in the middle, and that's when SIT have literally ran away with it so far, and they've been doing great in the sim racing challenges as well. But Andy, how nice would it be to see all of our 6 teams from season beta back here for these sim challenges?
It'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Get the whole family back together, you know, and hopefully we can do it for real as well in the near future. But they'll want to get back to this as well. They'll want to be getting back to competition and back to working in the sim. You know, it's one thing to go and practice in the sim on your own, but this is what it's all about, really, competing against the other teams. And I'm sure the teams that weren't able to join us tonight, they'll be itching to get back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The dream would be going to Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway circuit with every single team in person and actually racing on the track. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that one day we will get there. Max, Andy, thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I'm going to let you both go now. Have a lovely evening, day, wherever you are. And we're going to go and check in with SIT, our winners from Offsprint in Time Dark Isle. I'm going to hear from these guys now. Guys, Ilya, Maxim, welcome back. Congratulations. You are champions of Offsprint Dark Isle with your winning time of 2:25 left on the clock. Ilya, thoughts on that? Must be feeling pretty good about what your team achieved tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, we're really feeling good about what we done so far. Of course, it's a bit like unlucky that other team didn't participate, and Polymorph went off track. So we are happy. We would be happy to see all 6 teams at least in simulator challenge and compete all together. Of course, we would like to go to and miss a lot real track races. So we are waiting for it and hope that someday this year we'll have this challenge on real track.
Yeah, that would be the dream. We would love that to happen as well. Maxim, though, just a question as well on Polymove. What did you make of their attempt? Disappointing. They were talking about precision not being on their side today.
I don't know. They just, if we're talking about software, we have like 1,000 lines of code, and just to go something wrong, you need like 1 year, and they're like 1 year difference between great software and completely fail. Yeah, I think it's the case. You always should like test your software, be prepared, yeah, and everything can go wrong at any time. You should be like prepared to this just, and yeah, sometimes we have what we have.
Ilya, as team boss, what do you get the team to do now? Do you take Friday off, or do you all go in and you debrief and you go, this is what's happened, let's look at the data and how we're going to improve for our next challenge?
We only have like our morning meeting off, but like tomorrow we'll still debriefing our results, looking on the data sets, what was good, what was bad during those like attempts, and then analyzing our code and then finding what we can improve for the next run. So still going, keep on.
Absolutely, going to keep pushing forward, of course, and we're going to see if you can get any better than your 2:25, 1:96 on the clock. I want to see exactly how much time you can have left there in the future. But guys, thank you so much for joining us, Team SIT. Ilya, Maxim, thank you. It's been great, as always, to have you guys on board, and well done.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Yeah,
there you go. Our winners from Offsprint, Dark Isle, Acronis, SIT. They're leading the championship in Roborace Season Beta, and they've done the business here tonight as well. And if we do have a championship standing, let me tell you, they'll be leading that as well. A win and a second. They're not doing too bad. Well, thanks to both our teams who competed tonight, Polymove and SIT. And thanks again to Andy and Max as well for joining us and giving us all their great commentary and insight. But that is it from Offsprint Dark Isle. Come back and join us though for another Roborace Sim Challenge, which will be dropping very soon. But in the meantime, do keep up to date on everything Roborace on all our social media channels. Well, it's good night from us and good day from wherever you're watching around the world. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.